Okay, so I know we already did a video breaking down gender and how it's made up and they're just labels and we're just programmed to believe everything from society. But I was analyzing the whole thing and I came up with even more really good, deep, points on the whole thing and how it really is all made up. Last time, I covered everything, but I found out more and I reworded a little bit and I think I got even more really great points. So I wanted to do a part 2 on how, so I call it, gender is not God-made if you're religious or natural-made if you're a scientist. It's human-made by labels. Okay, and here's my major point. Okay, this is literally what happened when the European white man came over to this continent and enslaved all the, took over and then he went to, yo, what's up? Now the bird's gonna Captain Kid's gonna flip out now. Is that on here?
Yeah.
He's not really a man. He's just labeled my dad in a man. Right, Babs? Okay, so anyway, what the hell was I? Oh yeah, my main title point. Okay, when the European white man came over these continents and came over to Africa, what did he do? He saw the African people as darker skinned and spoke a different language, and he was so arrogant, he thought that they were beneath him. And for the longest time, even with Hollywood, African people could not get major roles because they were looked at as beneath white people, like dumb, literally undeveloped. That's how arrogant and scummy white people are, and that was even in the 1930s. It's not even that long ago. That's how disgusting our society is. People think that's hundreds of years ago. It's actually really recent and still around. So anyway, my point is that they knew better. They just wanted to use what? Black people to do their work for them and enslave them, right, Brittany? It's pretty much just an excuse oh, look at these people. We'll just have them do our fucking laundry and wash our fucking underwear. That's pretty much, and clean our wooden teeth. Shut up! Yeah? Anyway. Right? So it's a good point. So they pretty much they knew they were really man and equal and the same thing. They just used it as an excuse of, oh, they're different. They saw them with different skin color, and we'll just use this as an excuse to put them under us and to do all our shit work and brush our wooden teeth for us. Blah, blah, blah. Right? So anyway, it's the same thing. Think about it. I put this together. It's the same thing with women. Women by gender, there's no such thing. Think of the term human, right? Human. It's in the title. So really, we're both just human, and we're human. There is no man and woman, just like there's no black man and white man. But the white man saw a black person and was like, oh wow, he's different looking. Let's call him a colored guy. So it's pretty much just to put them in a different group just because they weren't used to it. So it's the same thing with men and women. There's no such thing. We're the exact same thing by everything. Except just like with the slightest skin color difference, there's one difference. There's the vagina and the penis. They're just two different parts. But you could say this type of man, just like a black man, has this type of part. And you could say this kind of man has this type of part. You don't have to say they're completely different things like men and women. You could put them in the same thing, and then we wouldn't even have burning brows and women fighting for rights. Women wouldn't have to fight for women's rights or equality if we were just put as human to begin with. It's just, you're a human with a penis. Oh, you're a human with this. Now, I'm not saying I don't like to, I'm a very, don't get me wrong, I have a, preference on how I look. I like to look what is labeled female and look feminine, that's what I like to dress and look like, but that doesn't mean I have to be a girl, or that doesn't mean there's a difference. Really, you can just be a human and you pick what like I said last video, what you want your body to look like. Because your brain is the same thing, except how you get programmed, or people tell you what to, society labels it all, and your brain believes it, but really, besides that, your body is just the car that moves you. No matter what it looks like. No matter what it looks like! Babs? Babs? Nothing? Does this make sense though, Brittany?
Yeah.
And how it's all on as much as how you label it. So I have the notes, and I want to, from there, that was just, read what I jotted down just for extra, in case I forgot everything. Okay, so I wrote, okay. So it's pretty much like we live like I said somewhat in the last videos, but I just wanted to, you know, go more into it with other parts. We live like actors. See? And actors are trained to play roles. So it's almost like it's made up. We play the role of a woman where, oh, the role's made up. Just like if we created a monster, like Frankenstein. Frankenstein has green skin. The Frankenstein monster has green skin, da-da-da-da. You make up all this character, right? Development of what the character, same thing with women. So it's like a made-up thing. Oh, women dress like this, look like this, have a vagina, wear makeup, da-da-da-da. Oh, that's woman. And women think like this and only care about shoes and blah, 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 and every other stereotype put in your head. That's just made up. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's like playing the role. Man created woman and man, and we believe the stereotypes. So we actually, it goes on so long, we actually start to believe our own made-up shit. That's pretty much what society is that things get made up long enough, and people just start to actually believe baloney. Like, that it's just man, if man made it up and God didn't come down and tell us, then it's made up and we're just following it. That's fact, right, Brittany? Mm-hmm. If some higher power doesn't come to tell us, we have to make it up. So it ain't real. So anyway, so it's like we're trained actors to play men and women. And we go by the standard created. It's a fantasy world. We're like in a fantasy world where we believe in these made-up characters. Woman, man, any other bullshit label. Black man. What? Even though we're all just one race thing and there's a couple slight differences. And you know what another thing that's off topic bothers me? About how I was saying how when it comes to European people, it's always white and no acknowledgement to European, but everybody else is there. Acknowledgement, like Mexican people, Asian people, they all have the continent mentioned except for us, which is arrogant of white power. But anyway, I know, like, it's funny that, it's funny how Asian people are called yellow or not white. Because the eyes are slightly, like, different because of, evolution of where they're from. You know, just like how African people have darker skin, their eyes are kind of, they're still kind of white skinned, aren't they, Brittany? Mm-hmm. So wouldn't they be white? Like Finnish people from Finland. If you ever look at people from Finland, their eyes are slightly slanted, aren't they?
Yeah. Because
of wherever on the planet. So how come they're not called something else like when they're called white? See how it's all screwed up and it's all baloney, and we need to just cut all the labels because they don't add up anyway. It's all, like, nobody thinks about it, but it's all stupid. So anyway, it's a fantasy world. So man and woman are created. Like, people don't always think about this, but Babs is a cat, and she's actually man-made. She's not a natural animal from nature. She's made between two animals, like a breed, just like dogs or a wolf and a fox. Or they're created like two animals came or whatever, right? Isn't that how, Brittany?
I think.
Or whatever, but
I know it was a wolf and something else.
Yeah, they're man-made though to breed it, and they make, and all the different types of dogs are made. They didn't come from nature. Like, they're breeded to make a weird like. So anyway, same thing with man and women. By label, though. By programming, instead of, like, breeding physically, we're made mentally by convincing ourselves all these differences, all these stereotypes, all these different... But it's not real. If that was the case, then every man would be one way, one mold, and have all those characteristics of what's labeled man in the actor role. Correct, Brittany?
Yeah.
Like a Ken doll. Men would only want to look like this. Men would only like women. There wouldn't be men on men, women on women. It's because it's all made up, and then everyone's fucking everybody because none of the labels are real. They just repressed us hundreds of years ago in our culture and made it where men have to be with women and they're men and they're completely different than women and different chemically and the brain, everything's different. It's a bunch of shit. And then that's why there's the differences. And then people are wondering, why is there gay people? Or why are men on men? Because really there's no labels and they just fucking whatever they're attracted to. But these labels made everybody think like, that's weird, that's different, so we have to put a gay label on it. Right? But really, if you didn't make any of those labels, that would just be human on human. Fucking away. You right? I use that term. So, okay, let me keep reading. I don't mean to... Okay. So, they're man-made only by brainwashing, not breeding, like dogs and cats. But really, there's humans. Human. So both are man by the title. If we wanted to come up with one title, we'd all be men. So it's almost like we're all men, and woman is the title to put them in a different group beneath them. Like, oh, black people are different. Women, it's like an excuse to put them like in the kitchen and make them beneath man. So they made up woman, just like with black people. They're like, oh, they're under us. They're different. So let's make them slaves and nothing. Well, women took the same slave role forever. They had to do nothing. They couldn't vote. They weren't considered an equal to man, were they? No, they were weaker. Why do you think they're called the weaker sex? And they were just to cook and clean in the kitchen, and they couldn't vote or anything, and they weren't really an equal thing. And they're still not to this day. And that's the whole point. But really, there is no woman. That's the funny thing. It's just another person with a different body part. Women could have did it to men, and did it the other way around, and made men considered the weaker, like the Amazon women, And that in different culture, right? So this proves all of it is just bullshit. So anyway, okay. Hold on, let me just finish. So both are man by that title. If we used it then, once trained to be a girl, or once they come up with the labels man and woman, we're trained to, then we're put in, and once we're born, our parents, brainwash us to be a boy or girl and say, oh, girls act like ladies and da-da-da, and girls aren't allowed to fuck multiple men, but men could be a pimp all day and they're a hero. All the stupid gender we're stereotypes where women are under, when really we're just humans that have needs to sexual. I'm not saying I'm so sexual, I'm just using the example, that it's an unfair. So anyway, just wanted to continue. So it's really just a state of mind that society puts in you because we adopt the habits of our environment. So if our environment lives pretty much in a theater fantasy world on stage, saying all this stuff is true and you're getting told it your whole life and this and that and everywhere, you're going to start to believe it. So that's what happened to us and why it's created. We're living a play, like we're on Broadway. It's a fantasy. So, one last thing. Because, like I said 100 times, you could attach a penis on me or take it off something, but that doesn't change who the person is by the brain. Nothing. It's all in your mind. Testosterone, chemical, none of that shit really makes up a man or woman, because there's men who are attracted to men, and some come off more to the stereotypes of women that are more like what's labeled feminine, but really all that shit's bullshit. It's really just humans that have different. You know what I'm trying to say, right, Brittany?
Yeah.
A man is still, like, if they think, like, okay, so you have men that act feminine. There's feminine men, like, by label, because feminine is just a made-up label, and that are gay, and then you have men that are totally like a man, and you wouldn't even know. You know why? Because all this stuff is bullshit, and it's really just humans who have a different traits by. So chemicals, that rules out chemicals, doesn't it, Brittany? Because if that was the case, then there wouldn't be the different variety of men being like this and women being like, right? Mm-hmm. Women would have one chemical where they only like men, and men would only like women, correct? So it goes to show you that all of it's not true. You can't go by all that science. We're too biased on our society's bullshit. Because scientists are human, and they're not perfect. Nobody thinks of that. So anyway, it's like I'm saying, you could say skin is like a vagina. Just a slight difference, but we're just all human. So anyway, just wanted to read the one last thing. So, in conclusion, like I know I said this before, but it's like, just like the white man used Africans as a race to just be servants beneath them, same for woman. Another slight difference, like skin, only a vagina, so put in a different group. And man, the white man, put her to work too. And it was just another way for one part of people to just dominate and to get and just to have other people do other shit and to rule. It's like an ego thing of power, because everyone seems to be like a control freak. So pretty much white man pretty much just did a control freak thing and put women and African people and everything in this continent to fucking beneath them and work. And then created all these differences that aren't real. There you go. It's unarguable. It's all made up, and it starts with the white European man. Bam! Babs? She wants to get the hell away. Alright, well that's it. Happy. I'm done. So that's my gender part 2. That's it.